Oh, well, it's fucking 85 degrees outside, so why not shoot another episode of 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse? Oh, I've been looking at some weird shit in the last few days. Really weird shit. I remember a film. I don't think this damn thing ever got a theatrical release. I only remember having it on a VHS tape. It was called The Further Adventures of Tennesse Buck. Shot in scenic Sri Lanka, whatever the fuck it is. Starring and directed by David Keith. And also starring Sidney Lasik as a shady fucking trader of some kind out in... They're saying it's Borneo. That's what they're saying. It's, they're in Borneo. Keith is some decrepit white hunter that basically lived with cannibals at one time and obviously watched Mountain of the Cannibal God, because so did Stacy Keach. So maybe that's where they got that idea. But anyway, he's a drunk. He lived with the cannibals, and now the safari is coming in with this rich guy, who I can't remember his name, Brett Huffington, whatever the fuck it is. His hot wife, played by former Playboy playmate Kathy Shower. And that's about it. Local cast. There's an Indonesian guide that goes along with them. They trek through the jungle. First off, there's a backstory. They had hired a guide, and when they all arrive in camp, this elephant goes fucking berserk and basically is charging the guide's jeep, and the guy jumps out of the jeep and lines up in the water, but then the jeep winds up on top of him. So now the elephant is charging the Kathy Shower character, and David Keith shoots it. That gets him thrown in jail by Sidney Lasik, Wolfgang, who wants this pendant that he has around his neck that supposedly protects him from harm. So he sets the bail at $5,000. Or the fine, or whatever it is, but this guy, Brett, pays it because he wants the great white hunter to go on this safari with him. So they go on this fucking safari. And they are captured by cannibals. And David tells the cannibals in their own barbaric tongue that this guy's an important man, so they decide to let him run and they're going to hunt him down. It's the blood hunt. So he convinces them to take the Indonesian buddy with them, but here's where the racism comes in, because the guide is trying to lead the guy to safety, and the guy goes, well, look, see the color of my skin? That puts me in charge. Well, you don't feel too bad when the chief comes back to the hut where they're keeping Kathy Shower after they oiled her up in a heavily erotic scene that was supposedly really trimmed for release. And he basically tosses the guy's severed head on the floor and proceeds to rape her doggy style. Then David Keith breaks them out, they run to safety, there's some more hot sex scenes, whatever, but then they all wind up in the safety, and it winds up the guy that you thought was killed, it's smuggled himself on the airplane, and they fly to safety, and he tosses the amulet down to the guy who was giving him the most shit. If it doesn't sound too exciting, it's really not, but it's one of those odd fucking little ass films that for some reason just showed up late at night on cable and on VHS. I believe it was Media. And I'm not saying it's a bad film. I mean, Kathy Shower has some fucking great tits. And she seemed to have a career of doing these direct-to-video B-movies, because she's done over 40-something films, I read. But anyway. A lot more fun is G.I. Executioner, directed by my old buddy Joel M. Reed. And if you ever sat down with Joel M. Reed, he'll tell you that he slept with Marilyn Monroe. No shit. So anyway, this was 1971, and it's supposedly the only film that was shot in Singapore. Well, let's go to the Philippines on that one. Anyway, Dave, the G.I. Executioner, is this guy played by, what's this guy's name? Tom Keena, whose other projects were 5 direct-to-TV movies, and that was it. But anyway, he's the main guy in there, and there's this kidnapped scientist with some kind of secret, and they got to get him. And there's a whole bunch of really weird, fucked up shit going to a gay bar full of transsexual performers. Angelique Pettyjohn's in it, where she has a completely nude gunfight, which is well worth the price of admission. And it winds up that the titular character, Dave, was also a Vietnam vet who posed as a gay man to get information for the CIA on this guy, who basically captures him again and dresses him in a little weird two-piece outfit and has a big muscle head dressed in the same two-piece outfit. And I thought we were going to see some really horrible butt sex there for a minute, but thankfully they didn't do that. GI Executioner ran in 1971, was released by Trauma on DVD, and is now completely out of print. So if you're lucky, you might find one in a thrift shop or something like that, but it's definitely worth a look because it's a lot more fun than the next film I'm going to bring up. I actually broke down and watched the new movie on Tubi, Butch, Cassidy and the Wild Bunch, directed by Anthony C. Ferranti, the guy who gave us Sharknado. So I thought, I wonder what a Western would be like directed by the guy who directed Sharknado. And I wasn't disappointed. It sucked. It's got a great cast of 3 people that you would know. Bruce Stern, Jeffrey Combs, and D. Wallace Stone. Now, Bruce Stern is actually gunned down before the credits, but shows up toward the end saying he just spent the last 5 years in prison and he's not going to prison again. D. Wallace Stone is the matriarch of the Cassidy family, who was gunned down by this complete psycho played by Anthony Palermo, whose boss is none other than Jeffrey Combs, the Reanimator, who is a Pinkerton agent. And let me tell you something. When Jeffrey Combs wants to play a scumbag, he plays a great scumbag, and he's no different in this. But the whole problem with this whole film is that the bad guys and the scumbags are a lot more interesting than the fucking good guys in the main cast. In the main cast, well, Russ Gurley and what the fuck is this guy's name? Gillian Van Over. That's Butch and Sundance. Paul Newman is actually Butch and Sundance are probably rolling over in their fucking graves right now. It's violent, it's sadistic, but like I say, the 2 main characters, played by Jeffrey Combs and Anthony Palermo, are vicious, nasty, and basically command all your attention. The rest of the, quote, Wild Bunch, you don't even give a fuck about because they're hardly there. And the 2 main characters that play Butch and Sundance are as exciting as watching paint dry. So, thankfully I saw it on Tubi. It didn't cost me any more than 90 minutes out of my life, and thankfully I was stoned when I saw it because I actually couldn't get up to turn the fucker off. Now, I've been asked a few times about returning to the convention circuit. Guys see my YouTube videos, and fans from early Chiller Theater ask me if I'm ever coming back there. Fans from Wasteland ask me if I'm coming back there. Monster Mania, I would never come back anyway. We all know that. Now here's the thing, all right? Guys, you remember the 42nd Street Pete from what, 20 years ago? The guy who could kill a fucking fifth of vodka on a Saturday night and wake up and be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but a little bit crazy on Sunday? That guy's gone. The guy that could hang out all night and hang out all 3 days without taking a break is gone. I got old. And the other thing is, where do I fit in the scheme of things at Chiller Theater right now? It's not a horror convention. It's not a drive-in convention. I have no beef with them, but here's the thing. People ask me when I'm coming back. Well, it isn't up to me to ask to come back. It's up to a promoter to ask me if I want to come back. Now, if I wanted to come back on my own, it's going to cost me, what, $400? What's a table go for? $400, let's say? So $400 for a table, probably $300 to get there, and whatever those hotel rooms are for 4 days. So we're talking it's going to cost me $1,000. And I don't sell my pictures. I don't sell autographs. I don't do shit like that. If anybody wants an autograph picture, it's simple. Just fucking PayPal me $10 just for shits and giggles because I used to feed my dogs, and I'll sign one of the 8x10s I got laying around here because I never was into that thing. But the other thing is too, I don't want my fans to pay $45 fucking dollars or whatever the cover is to come and see me. I mean, I don't feel I'm worth $45 to see, and if it was up to my druthers, I'd get a ride down there on a Saturday and just hang out and bullshit with you guys. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen either. And like I say, I have no issues with anything. It's simply that, I'm not the same guy I was. I appreciate that people want to see me again. Actually, I'd like to see some of you guys, probably for the last time. But right now, it's just not in the cards. And as far as Cinema Wasteland, well, that was another one that sort of ended on a sour note. But to be honest with you, it's not the same show anymore. It's not a grindhouse and drive-in show anymore. It's got third-tier guests now, and to me, all it is a place for the 5 boutique video companies to sell their product, and that seems to be the draw. Go in, pay $35 to go in and buy DVDs. That's not me either. So I won't be there. Where I will be is I will be at the Cleveland Comic and Toy Show on Black Friday weekend, Friday and Saturday, at the Best Western in Strongsville, Ohio. That probably will be my last convention appearance. I just wanted to do one last thing to get my magazine out there, some new stuff I'm doing out there, and to see some of the fans in the area that I'm probably not going to see again. So that's where I'm at. I mean, never say never, but I'm not the guy who's going to sit there and bang you for the autograph. I'm not the guy who wants you to pay $20, $45, or $35 to come in just to see me. You can see me right here. That's about the best I can do. Like I say, never say never, but a lot of time has passed, a lot of water under the bridge, and to me, it just ain't worth it anymore. Like I said, I'm doing this, one in November, sort of as a goodbye type thing. But like I said, I'm not unopen to anything, if somebody wanted to talk to me or whatever. But right now, I hate to disappoint anybody, but it just can't be done. So that's our show for today. Check out those first 2 movies, but stay the fuck away from Butch Cassidy and the Wild Bunch, because the Wild Bunch ain't really fucking wild. So on that happy note, stay safe. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. We will catch you on the flip side, and I'm out of here.